Hey everybody, this is Ryan Lockett. Welcome to Red Raven Designer Diary number 1. This is a series I'd like to do this year, talking about my various game designs, talking about art and manufacture and everything that I do here at Red Raven. And today we're going to talk about Empires of the Void 2nd Edition. Yeah. That was better. Okay, so here we have the prototype. So Empires of the Void, what is the deal with this game? A lot of people have asked over the years, when are you going to do a reprint? How come you don't want to reprint the game? To tell you the truth, I have been working on various prototypes for a 2nd edition of this game for years. I mean, this is probably the 12th version, the 12th prototype I've made for this game. What did you think about the length of the game?
I thought it was a good length. I mean, if I was comparing it to like quick Euro games that I play, then yeah, it's a longer game, but for a game like this, it was a good length.
I'm always coming up with new ideas. I felt like the 1st edition is cool. You know, it was my first published game. I really like it, but it didn't quite evoke all the things that I wanted it to, you know. I wanted it to be a little more thematic and a little more strategic and replayable and interesting. So we're trying to do all that kind of stuff, and I've tried to do that over the years in various prototypes. The funny thing is, Empires of the Void, I'll work on it for a while. I'll work on a version, and you know, I'll decide it's not quite there, so I'll move on to something else, but I'll take a mechanic from the version I was working on and put it in something else. So for example, Above and Below, the villager mechanic, the way that they move and they rest and everything like that, if you've played that game, that came from a version of Empires of the Void, but instead of villages or people, those were ships, and you moved ships around on your little board and they got exhausted, and that made it into Above and Below, and Islebound, in fact. In fact, speaking of Islebound, which is coming out later this year, Islebound was one of my prototypes for Empires of the Void 2nd edition, and I decided it wasn't quite right for the theme. It was a little too Euro, so I changed the theme and we changed a couple of the mechanics, and I think it fits a lot better. So now here I am, back again to Empires of the Void, the game I'm always designing, always working on. What did you think about the population and empire card mechanic?
It didn't quite feel smooth yet. Like, it was a little lurchy, you know. Sometimes you'd use a lot and then you'd wait to refresh, and then you wouldn't want to use any because you didn't want someone else to benefit or because you wanted to save up for a later. Like, it felt a little stop and go. I hope that it gets smoother as we go along.
Let me tell you about this version. In fact, even in the last couple of weeks, I've made 3 different versions with totally different rule sets. This one I'm pretty happy with. We've had a good time playing it so far. So you can see this is the board. And where are the planets? Well, they are not on the board. I've decided that yes, exploration is a fun part of the theme that I want to have in the game. So players, as they move their ships around, you know, you'll start on your home planet, and as you move your ships around, you'll be able to draw from the planet deck over here. Most likely these will not be cards, they will be cardboard pieces. So, oh look, you know, you'll move a ship over here and you say, oh my gosh, we found Piraeus. And I think that's a lot of fun. Another thing we're adding is encounters. So like this little thing right here, if you move ships there and take an action, you will roll on an encounter chart and see what happens. So currently, let's see, I'm going to pull this over so you can see it. Here is the encounter chart. So if you roll a 1, you'll find the Ancient Guardian, you'll have to fight it. 2 and 3, you'll find a cargo ship, and you can choose to use piracy or aid the ship, and you'll get various things, different rewards for doing different things. You might find an uncharted world, lost traders, or a derelict ship. So that's kind of a fun thing I'm excited about. Now, why have I been redesigning this game so much? Well, one reason is because this type of game has a lot of inherent problems that I've been trying to fix. It's a multiplayer war game, which means that if 2 players gang up on a third player, that player will be at a big disadvantage, so it really turns into a diplomacy game. Or, for example, if 2 players duke it out in the game and hurt each other and take each other's resources, the player that didn't get hit will be safe, and will probably win. So I've tried to design various versions where attacking someone didn't hurt that bad. That's sort of where Islebound came from. When you attack someone's town, you take it from them, it really doesn't hurt them that bad. But I don't know, I've had the question, is that something we care about? Is that something that is an inherent part of the excitement of this type of game? That you can be attacked, and that if 2 players gang up on you, it is a little bit unfair. And that adds to a lot of tension and excitement. So I have really designed so many versions where attacking was a lot less painful, but I don't know. In this version, it's a little more painful, and I think it's kind of fun. Okay.
But I thought it was fun. It made it interesting using the cards with the population.
Okay. Thank you. Another thing I've struggled with in the design of Empires of the Void 2nd Edition is how traditional to make it Euro style. Like, how much indirect conflict should there be and how much direct conflict should there be? How much economy focus should there be, and how much fighting and dice rolling should there be? And should there be dice rolling? Should there be a card draw for the battles, which seems oh so popular right now? And I've gone through a lot of versions of that, and I think I've gone to sort of a mix. This is going to be at least this version here is a pretty good mix of direct player conflict, dice rolling, combat, and some heavy strategic engine building with cards. So that's something I'm excited about. I love engine building games. So after much change and many versions, I've decided to sort of keep the battle system just with some slight changes, which I think some people will be happy about and some people will not, but can't please everybody. So we are using these ships. Most likely I will do new art for the ships. One of the things that set apart Empires of the Void 1st edition was trading, and I have tried to include trading in oh so many versions. However, in this version, I decided to finally get rid of it. It seems like in the 1st edition, trading works really well for some groups, and for some groups it does not. If players don't think about trading or don't want to trade, then trading doesn't work, and it seems like players don't have the resources they need. So it's also a little dicey because it's a combat game, which means that you're less likely to want to trade with someone because they're just going to use it to attack you or get ahead, or you're going to use it to attack them later. So players aren't quite as willing to negotiate with each other. So instead, now we have one influence for using diplomacy to ally with planets. It is this influence, this I here. So basically you just have to collect this. It's a resource and you pay it in order to ally with a planet. Now planets still give different things based on what you do. You can conquer a planet, you can ally with a planet. If you conquer a planet, you'll get a certain thing. Now I've hand-drawn a lot of cards for this game currently. So this is the planet card for Seath. So if you conquer Seath, you'll get 2 credit income. So this is credits, so this is like money in the game. You use it to buy ships and upgrades and things like that. So if you conquer Seath, you will get 2 credit income. If you ally with Seath, you will get 2 new population. That's something new we're adding to the game, population. And also, down here you can see it says Empire cards cost 1 fewer credit. So in the future, when you buy Empire cards, then they cost 1 fewer credit. So what are Empire cards? Let's get to that right now. This is an Empire card. So this is basically I've gotten rid of technology and replaced it with Empire cards, which I think are more thematic. Empire cards can be technology, like this one is, Medusa Drive. It's a technology. It's got a little science symbol right here. But some of them are not. Some of them are just, they could be organizations, they could be people, they could be heroes. So I've got the Merchant Guild right here, and they all do various things. So up in this corner here, this shows you what you have to pay, and then all these different actions, all these different cards give you different abilities and actions. So in order to use an Empire card ability, you have to spend a population. So throughout the game, everyone is gaining population, losing population. You start out with 3 population. And if you have an Empire card that says, you see these little boxes with the letters in it, so it says F or P. So if I have a card that has an A, that means to use this ability, I have to put a population, we'll say this is a population, on the card, and that lets me use that ability once, and so that takes an action. If it's an F, that means it's a free action, so it doesn't take an action. Players get 2 actions per turn. If it's a P, that means it's passive, so it just applies all the time. You don't have to put a population on it. And if it's a B, then it's a battle. So this one lets you, if I put a population here during a battle, I could add 1 to a die. Now here's something I'm super excited about. This is a new resource, this red eye. It's fear. So every time you conquer a planet, you have to take 1 fear token. Now fear is, sometimes you want it, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you might need it to buy some Empire cards. So the Monks of Bleeze, they cost 4 credits and 1 fear token. So they're a little bit scary, I guess. But if you let fear pile up, it will decrease your happiness level. So let me just show you really quick this chart here. This is the happiness chart, and you can go up and down this, and at the end of the game you will lose points or gain points depending on how happy your population is. So by having too much fear, like if you go around conquering stuff, and there are other ways to gain fear as well, if you use piracy and snatch goods and stuff like that, then you'll get fear, and it makes it harder to do certain things. And the last question I have for today is, should these cards be this size, which is sort of a mini USA size, or should they be Euro size? Mini size lets, it would let you fit a lot in your play area. So players can have a total of 7 Empire cards showing at one time. So that would, I could make a player board where players could put these on the board, and they would all line up. Is it too small? Because I want to have different art on all these cards. I know some people hate mini cards, but this game is going to take up a lot of space on kitchen tables, so mini cards might be okay. Maybe you guys can let me know what you think in the comments. I've actually I quickly made up a sort of a finalish artwork idea of what an Empire card would look like as a mini card. Is this too small? Is that too hard to read? I don't know. This is a question I have. We'll have to figure it out. Well, I hope that was somewhat interesting. Please, if you have any comments, please leave them below in the comments section, and I will try to answer any questions there, or perhaps in the next video. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.